Hi, today I'm going to show you how to create the Ken Burns effect using Adobe Premiere, which is a program found in most of the ITC labs here on campus, but also available to you as students at a reduced rate through the university bookstore. To get started, we'll just make a new project, and I'll call it Sample, and I'm going to save it to the desktop. You can save it wherever you like. And this is the main interface for Premiere. First thing to do is to import all of the assets. And if you go to DIY History and find the letter that you're working with, save image as, save it to the desktop, and then flip back over to Premiere, File, Import, or Control-I, find that JPEG, there it is, and it imports it into this sample project folder right here. Now there are a couple other things that we'll want to add, one being a narration that you've recorded, say on your phone or any other recording device that you have. Another is some royalty-free music that you can download off the web. If you Google royalty-free music, the first hit you'll probably see is this website right here. I've identified this track called Hyperfun, which is the silent film score genre. I've already downloaded that to the desktop. So I'll go back to Premiere, import that. Where's it at? Hyperfun. And I've also pre-recorded narration of me reading that letter, so I'll import that as well. Okay, so you'll probably want to begin with your narration, since that's a set time limit and you'll base everything on that time frame. So drag your narration over here to the sequence and it'll show you how long it is. This is 27 seconds. Once it shows up here in the audio track A1, you can then take your letter, drag it on top into the V1 video track, just like that, and then grab the end and just scoot that out to match the same length as your narration. Now at this time you can just grab Hyperfun or whatever music file you're working with and put that on the A2, the audio 2 track right below your narration. It's going to be quite a bit longer, but that's okay. You can trim that, or you can just grab the end and just scoot that all the way down to fit the length of your project. The music will probably be too loud in relation to your narration, so if you select the music here in the sequence, go over to the Effect Controls tab, and then in Volume, use this drop down, and this gives you a slider. You can set that down. We're going to go -10. That might be a little loud still, but good enough for this purpose. So if we preview,
he is also well advanced in geography, Latin, and English grammar and lit.
Not bad, but this static image here is a little boring, so we want to give that a little bit of an animation to liven things up. And to do that, we're going to just scroll it down the page so it sort of looks like we're reading the letter. Now, what we want to do here is select the letter in the sequence, and we'll be using the motion effect since we'll be moving it. And the first thing we'll do is change the scale just a little bit because we'll want to zoom in, and I'm just going to use 120% just so we can see things a little bit better and it doesn't scoot off the edge of the page. Now the next thing we do is here in the position, this 1499 or whatever number it is for you, we'll want to move the playback head back, and we'll scoot this and kind of preset it a little bit. So we'll scoot it down in a starting position. Okay, and it's off the page a little bit, and that's where you can play with the scale to keep it from doing that. And at this point we want to set a keyframe, and to do that we click this stopwatch icon right here, and it adds this triangle icon over in the keyframe timeline. If we scoot the playback head either up here or down in the sequence all the way to the end of the clip, and set another keyframe by clicking the Add Remove Keyframe button right here, and then scooting the letter back closer to our original position, something like that. Now, when we start from the beginning, this is the effect we get.
He is also well advanced in geography, Latin, and English grammar and arithmetic. Edward is 6. He commenced learning to read 6 months since. He now reads very well, and I think bids fair to make an excellent scholar. Stephen Henry is nearly 4, a fine, fat boy, full of life and play. Thus you have a sketch of my family.
All right. And that is a very quick, easy tutorial on creating the so-called Ken Burns effect. You can also do this with photos by combining the keyframing of the position as well as the scale. So you can do things like scroll the photo across the page while simultaneously zooming in. And that's a trick that Ken Burns and his editing team like to use quite a bit. So experiment with keyframes in both position and scale. It takes just a little bit of practice, but after you get the hang of it, you can do a lot of interesting effects and make your photos and letters come to life. Thanks.